Hello and welcome back to FUTURELAB Africa. I am Chipchumba, Digital African. This is FUTURELAB Africa. I'm so excited to release this special episode. I recorded this episode at the Gâté Lyrique in Paris in December of 2018. And this episode is special because we talk disco, we talk bassa, we talk the technology of music, of sound, of rhythm, and of course we time travel. I invented a time machine. It was a few years back in Johannesburg, and if you want to know a little bit more about this whole entire project, if you think I'm making it up, I would suggest that you check out this archive episode that we have on futurelabafrica.org. It explains the idea behind my time machine, what exactly was going on, did it work, was it successful? Anyway, I invented a time machine. It was not expensive to do. I did not need that much finesse or technological acuity. But my time machine was my first experiment in speculative thinking. If you want to know what speculative thinking is, I suggest this amazing book by Anthony Doon. And in this book, Anthony Doon invites you to take these little sort of mini experiments in social dreaming and in future thinking through technology. And it's just a way of thinking about designing your future that's quite interesting and captivating. Anyway, my time machine was nothing special, but it worked. It allowed you to go 30 seconds into the future and record a message. So I think for a time machine, it was pretty effective. And I called this time machine the future selfie booth. Since the time I made this future selfie booth, I have looked into time machines that exist. Many of you don't know that you are a seasoned time traveler. That sounds crazy, but you've had the opportunity to travel through time, and you actually do it quite often, but you didn't really know that that's what you were doing, or perhaps maybe the words time travel have not really been associated with this. But most of us have experienced time travel through music, through sound. And we do it all of the time. How many times can you say a song or some sound that you've heard can take you back like to a very specific moment decades ago? So time travel is something that you and I have very much in common. This is why we have FUTURELAB Africa. We are here to transport you 100 years back and forth through the past, through the present, and through the future. So in this way, we're using music and sound in this ethereal way to bring us back into memories and lifting us into our imagination and allowing us to envision things to come. So I invite you to exercise a little bit of your imagination. I invite you to come through and go through this journey with me. So for today, we traveled to Cameroon in the early 1990s. And here we meet a young contemporary African artist living in France, in Paris, Anna Tjé. And I had a chance to speak to Anna. I was very drawn to her. She's an incredibly beautiful person, and she has this energetic quality that's quite magical. So I don't want to say too much. I want us to get where we're going, so enjoy. Here we are, arriving for the first time from Paris to Cameroon.
was 7 years old, the first thing I can remember was the heat when you when you get out of the plane and you arrive. You're submerged by a very I don't know how to describe it, like a heat so heavy and with a scent. And so this is the first thing that reminds me of Cameroon. It's the when you get out of the plane, you have a scent and a heat that submerge you. And you know you've like it's so like you're in another world because it's so different from where I am in my everyday life. And I'm sure for somebody that comes here, there is some type of the same feeling, but with a different scent, with a different temperature. Yeah, so that was that. And I think the second thing when I was 7 years old the first time was the mud, the not the mud but the red mud. Yes, basically the fact that here in the West and in France, in Paris, everything is concrete. You have green, you have okay, but everything is concrete. It's very urban. Where I grew up it's urban life basically, and with concrete everywhere, with gray architecture. Everything is gray. And when I arrived in Cameroon, the first thing that I could really feel apart from that scent and that heat was the earth that had a certain color that I hadn't seen before. And it's sort of a red earth, red color. But in Yaoundé, it's very much like that. We call it, the place where the red earth, the red mud is going everywhere in your hair, in your skin, in your food, everywhere. My name is Anna Tjé. Um, I am an artist, a writer, researcher, and co-founder of a literary and arts review called Atelier. I am French of Cameroonian descent, and I am born and raised here in the Paris outskirts, in a little city called Pontoise. I feel like my journey is sort of different from many of my peers and friends. I think that's because my parents got divorced, that I got to yes, I was raised by my mother, who is artistic in some way, and who always wanted for me to flourish in my artistic endeavors. She wouldn't suppress it. She wouldn't tell me do that instead of that. She was more into listening to me and what I wanted to do if I had a plan. And by listening to me, it was like, okay, so let me see what I can do, what we have in our pocket to make sure you can do that and you can succeed. So she will always encourage me. My father, on the other end, was more into like, okay, so you have to be successful, have a really secure path or job or stuff like that. So he wouldn't very understand when I would tell him that, okay, so I'm gonna do literature in high school and graduate with a literature and art high school diploma. It was like, okay, so what about economy? But since I was, very much raised by my mother, she won, I guess, or I won.
Ouais, complètement. Elle te transcende. Bien, on atteignait des sphères de flamboyance, on était cosmique. Voilà, on est loin, quoi. Ma sexualité, en fait, c'est pas seulement la pratique, mais c'est aussi un imaginaire à construire. J'avais besoin de me créer un univers érotique, ou en tout cas de s'autoriser à repenser un discours, trouver de la beauté, de la force. J'aime bien quand les noirs s'élèvent. On s'imagine pas que c'est une musique de lutte, une musique révolutionnaire. Mais il y a un truc de joie un peu intemporelle, une joie insouciante.
I think Nyum was always there, and that's what is interesting in what I've created, is that in this story I say that her power comes from her mother and the mother of her mother and so on and so forth. But Nyum came because I actually, for a certain period of time, I had to work on a project based around disco culture, disco movements. And I was like, okay, so what can I create? Where can I go to find inspiration? And one thing that was part of the project was a movie projection of Saturday Night Fever. And I don't know if you have seen this movie, and it is a horrible movie.
It's pretty bad.
It's very bad. It's whitewashed version of what disco could have been actually, or was, or is.
Where do you go when the record is over? John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever.
And it's very racist, very misogynistic. It's a very bad movie. And I was like, okay, so we are going to showcase that movie. So no, I cannot be part of that actually.
But wait.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
I have to give you context. I'm sorry. I have to give you context. I think in some way we have to bring back or rehabilitate the values of what disco is or was or maybe.
Scorned as kitsch, escapist garbage when it hit the big time in the mid-70s, over the years the word disco has come to mean afro wigs, polyester suits and drunken sing-alongs to I Will Survive. Needless to say, that's not how it started out. For the early disco evangelists, it was about freedom, togetherness and love, and sex, and drugs, and above all, the dance.
I argued that the disco culture in itself could not be separated from African spirituality. Yeah, basically from African spirituality and
What do you mean? Like, how do you even make the connection between the two?
Benale manyo watoto konile manyo mama jamile menga mama bugale manyo konile manyo adel oh bugale manyo Mama bena le manyo ya todo Mama le manyo Buga le manyo mama ya mama Mama le manyo Numa na honga mbonga malira bonga matoma tawe Mama ye mele bunga na tome poro Dinga kwa mitsol me Yeme pa mo mapuna dega wa me bimbo me dega ki manune bo dega wa pistol boat bo dega wa bimbo nyo yige labora man dum labor be akon urbanu kwe wa minum me Tenga jama la ga ngwan men ka bu mi jela la wa ni ba to lo bu ko na mi yige la bo ra mane ma tong ba so ku do la ma nyoma nu be bo ya ma ba lo lo no tenga ma sang we so lo fi ma bel we den dong tenga gwe bu we po mbu am o da ma mang we bu to ala wela Kiri kwa metuni dengo na mana banga nongo mejere no baga mama me kuna wajama de longo mejere
Who are the originators of disco in terms of music first, and then in terms of a culture and a movement, and what did they used to say, and what are they claiming, and so to me, there was a link between African spirituality and the erotic, the power of the erotic, and because I wanted basically in my piece to talk about liberation in terms of sexual liberation, in terms of circulation, and in terms of liberation of the spirit, of the mind, of the thinking, and critical thinking as well. It all comes into one thing that I will call maybe a disco madness. And when I look at the originators of the music, so disco first in terms of music, from soul, funk, and then with the transformation and the transformation of the technology and what we could do with instruments, live instruments as well as electronical instruments. We then created a new sound, new sounds with machines, and and those were black people that do that. Those were people of African descent, and mainly of African descent, or Latinx people as well. But still, there's a root there, and
Let me just show you a couple of things. This was the Motown. This was the Motown sound. Motown was using the heartbeat that was like this. That's why they call it. They call that the heartbeat. Now, what I did, I say, well, look. Now, since the Motown uses the heartbeat, I said, I'm going to develop a sound of our own, and this is how basic the disco thing got started. I said, well, if they playing, I said, I'm gonna put 4 on the floor. So what I did, I put 4 on the floor like this. Now that's 4 on the floor. Now, this is what started the disco. Started disco duck and everything else. Then I put a 2/4 on the snare. Now that's basic disco. Now what determines what the song is going to feel like is your hi-hat. So I put 1/8 notes on the hi-hat. Now you got 4 on the floor here. Now that's basic disco. 4 on the floor, snare drum. Now I'm gonna show you some other disco beats. Now I'm gonna show you how you can change it up and still do disco. And what's gonna change is my hi-hat. Same beat. Now I'm gonna change it up again. Still disco. Now I'm gonna change it up again. I'm gonna show you another disco beat. Still 4 on the floor. So the hi-hat shows you still disco. Now I'm gonna show you how you do disco and make it a little funkier. All you do is you add a little backbeat. Still got the 4 going. That's still disco. Now I'm gonna change it up again. See, if you notice, I don't have a drum machine. I was the drum machine back then. So when I go in the studio, they tell me, say, look, Earl, give me some more beats. So I'm gonna change it up automatically and show you some different beats as I do it.
That we could see, there's always that reference towards Africa, or maybe some fantasized version of what is Africa, or what create Africa in terms of belonging and feeling and dream and hope and utopia as well. So when you look at the entire discography of Earth, Wind and Fire, or tons of people, there's always this wanting to refer to the continent of Africa, of some type of culture there, or ancient spirituality, or those type of things. And I feel like in terms of the liberation of sexuality, the eroticism was very prevalent. The fact that women who were very involved in the disco movement as singstresses, they were very much, owning their sexuality and their own way to present themselves to the public as, women that were erotic, but not erotic in terms of, oh, this is pornography. Not necessarily, but more in terms of, okay, this is elusive, this is desire and lush, but at the same time, this is power. So what power means as erotic? And I think this is Audre Lorde. Yes, I think this is Audre Lorde who wrote about it in one of her essays, and it's called The Uses of the Erotic as Power. And she argues that the aim of each thing which we do is to make our lives and the lives of our children richer and more possible. Within the celebration of the erotic in all our endeavors, my work becomes a conscious decision, a longed for bed, which I enter gratefully, and from which I rise up empowered. Empowered. So to me, if that is erotic, then I must go that path, because that's basically what I want to do, what I want to portray in what I do. So I created Nyum Supernova, and Nyum Supernova is the story of a deity called Nyum Supernova. And so who is Nyum Supernova, you may ask? Nyum Supernova is an African Bassa deity. So as a Cameroonian, I'm of the Bassa tribe, and so she is a Bassa deity, an existing one. Nyum is a deity from the various deities we have in our own beliefs, spiritual beliefs, apart from Christianity, I'm saying. And so Nyum is an African Bassa deity born in a Bantu society in the last century. She's the rainbow divinity of healing, one of cultural events, and the bridge between two worlds, the world of immortals, the world of mortals.
And And we're back. Hi, it's me, Chipchumba, again. Sorry to disrupt your listening, but I just wanted to inform you that this episode is a two-parter. It was really super tough for me to do this episode just because of the incredible content, the incredible wisdom and information that I received from Anna Tjé. Please check out her work. Please go online in the time between now and the next episode to learn more about her and her work and some of the things that she's doing right now in Paris, right now, this minute, as we speak. She's there doing cool stuff. You can find her on Instagram. She's pretty awesome. So yes, so sorry to disappoint you. This is going to be a two-part episode. The next episode is going to come as soon as I get done, as soon as I'm editing. This has been quite a tough process to do, just because I'm doing it alone, sort of looking for funding and looking for all sorts of information and doing so much research at the same time. So if you really want to lend a hand, if you want more of this to come, if you want them quicker, if you want them faster, if you want them better, then go to futurelabafrica.org, or even better, go to our Patreon page. Yes, we have a Patreon, and you can support us monthly and just give us like even a small donations so that we can get better equipment, so that these episodes can come to you much better and faster. So I just wanted to say, just lastly, before we end, that I'm really thankful for all of you who are still listening, and I really appreciate how you are spreading the word. I'm getting emails from all over the world, everywhere, all spaces in between, from amazing people who are really interested in this technology of culture in Africa and this legacy of technology that we have. So if you're one of those people who want to contribute, or who want to lend a voice or music or a sound for the podcast, like I said before, this podcast is an audio time capsule, then please go to voicefuturelab at gmail.com and leave a voice note. I would love to hear your voice, or I would love to hear something that you can hear, maybe a sound where you are, just so that we can make this like the best podcast for future generations. So that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.
never, never, never gonna ever